I first found out my wife was pregnant in 2005. I was very terrified to have them because it had nothing to do with them. It had everything to do with the fact that I didn't feel equipped for it. I don't know what I'm doing. I have no idea what to do. What am I going to do when this kid cries? What if I screw this up? That was all in my head. I was absolutely terrified. You think that because you're a man, because you're a husband, that automatically equips you to be a good dad. And that's not the case. The desire to be a good dad is a piece of it, but it's not all of it. A lot of men want to be a good dad. Are you willing to do the work to be a better father, to step into being mentored and led and being taught and casting your ego aside and just say, I don't have this all figured out. I have no idea what I'm doing. Will someone please help me? Man, what did it feel like when you first found out your wife was pregnant or your girlfriend was pregnant or a significant other was pregnant and you were like, oh my gosh, and you never had a kid before that? And I go back to certain things that I was thinking and feeling, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I was absolutely terrified. And here I am. I have 4 boys, 19 to 9, and there wasn't one of them that when my wife was pregnant, I was like, wow, what is this going to be like? I was terrified. Like I'm talking like roller coaster flying off the rails, terrified before becoming a dad. And I'll tell you, everything that's happened in these 20 years, give or take, some of it has been really, really scary. Some of it's been euphoric. Some of it's been a roller coaster. Some of it's been sad. Some of it's been angry. Some of it's been happy. Some of it's been everything. But I'll tell you, it wasn't really what I expected looking back on it now 20 years. And that's what today's podcast is all about. It's a parent-focused podcast around me being 50 years old this month. I just turned 50 last week. And I've been a dad for 20 years. And it's the advice I would have given myself when I was 30 and just starting to have kids. And for all you guys out there who are young dads, or maybe you're not young dads, or maybe you're dads who've been dads longer than me, you might be like shaking your head, be like, yeah. Or if you're a younger dad, be like, oh dude, please tell me, what were the mistakes you made? What were the thoughts going through your head so I can normalize what's going through mine, right? So if that's you, you're in the right place. You're in the Dad Edge podcast. I'm Larry Hagner. I am your host and founder. I am a husband of 1, a father of 4, the founder of the Dad Edge podcast, founder of the Dad Edge Alliance. That's our elite brotherhood for hard-charging men who have 9-to-5 jobs. The Dad Edge boardroom. That's our elite brotherhood for business owners who want to continue to grow and scale their business while cultivating an incredible marriage and connection with their kids. That's what we do here at Dad Edge. And if you're here, you probably want those things too. And this one today is a parent-focused show around the conversation that I would have had with myself. And the idea around this theme for the month of July was really sparked by one of my kids. He asked me, he's like, man, what advice would you have given yourself, when you first became a dad? And I was like, oh my gosh, might be like a laundry list, but I do have some ideas. So here's a couple of them. So I want to start with a story of, if you tuned in last week, you understood how terrified I was to get married, because I always thought that marriage was pretty much the launching pad for divorce. If that's not the most pessimistic thing in the world to think about, that's really what it was for me. I really thought that whoever I'm going to marry, I'm going to be divorced. And doesn't everybody get divorced and remarried? And several times it just sort of happens that way. But if you look at the stats, that is really a lot of what happens to people is, 50% divorce, 50% of people get married, get divorced. And, but if you really look at the stats, like I said last week, it's 12% of people that get married that can actually identify their relationship as working and they're happy. And those are terrible, terrible stats. And I really think that we would have a better outcome if we were taught things differently, it's really twofold. If we were taught things differently growing up, but also as an adult, that we took initiative to learn new skills to navigate these things. Because anything we do well in life, we learn how to do it. You don't go compete at a black belt level jiu-jitsu tournament and do well unless you've been doing jiu-jitsu for 20 years and you've earned your black belt, right? Or 10 years. I think it takes 10 years to earn your black belt in jiu-jitsu. So people have a deep desire to do jiu-jitsu, and they might have a deep desire to compete in jiu-jitsu, but they're probably not going to do well unless they do the training, if they learn the skills. And when it comes to marriage and when it comes to parenting, what I have found, that's lesson number 1 is we got to learn it. But I'm going to get back to that here in a second. So let me get back to the story of when I first found out my wife was pregnant. I first found out my wife was pregnant in 2005. And I got to tell you, we were married for 2 years before we were able to get pregnant. And those 2 years, I got to tell you, I was getting frustrated at the end that we weren't getting pregnant, because I could see my wife's frustration. She was really frustrated. She, at that time in my life, she wanted children more than I did. It's not that I didn't want them, as I was very terrified to have them, because it had nothing to do with them. It had everything to do with the fact that I didn't feel equipped for it. So I didn't know what I was doing. A lot of it was probably because of my upbringing. I just kind of grew up in the rather chaotic environment and didn't know a lot about it. But the thing is that my upbringing wasn't necessarily special or unique. I mean, some parts of it was. Like, I didn't even meet my biological father till I was 30, so I guess that is pretty unique. And we still have a relationship to this day. But I'm talking about more or less the blended family sort of. Parents get divorced, and maybe dads leave, or moms, there's animosity, there's all kinds of craziness that happens. But back then that was kind of normal, and some of it still sort of is. And when you grow up that way, if I'm speaking to you and you understand that, you're probably like, man, yeah, like I know what bad looks like, but I don't know what good looks like. And that was my story too. And I thought that I knew what bad looked like. I was like, okay, I'm not going to like abuse my kids. I'm not going to like, get drunk and go crazy on them, or beat them up, or do these horrific things. So I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to call them names, but I don't really know what good looks like either. Like, I've seen it on TV, but like, is that what you're supposed to be like doing all the time? Like, it's like this sort of like, I don't know, like this fairy tale type thing. Like, that doesn't seem possible either, because there's got to be problems. There's got to be storms. You got to figure out how to weather the storm. Like, what do you do when your kid does this? Or what do you do when your kid does that? Or when they misbehave, or we lose our temper, or we lose control, or like, what do I do then? Like, I don't really know. And I'll never forget this conversation I had with my stepmom a week before my oldest son was born. It was just the two of us, and my stepmom is one of those people that she is the easiest person in the world to talk to. She's the type of person that you walk away from a conversation, you're like, man, I can't believe I told her all that. And she's just very comfortable to talk to. And I'll never forget, a week before my oldest son was born, she's like, oh my gosh, you're a week away. You must be so excited. And I don't know what it was in that moment, but anytime anyone came up to me and was talking about like how excited I probably was, or I would just smile and fake it and be like, yeah, I'm so excited. I can't wait. And inside I was like, oh my gosh, like, I can't believe it's going to happen. I'm terrified. Right. Oh God. That's really what I was thinking. So when she said that, I don't know what it was, but I just felt really comfortable. And I just told her, I was like, actually, I'm terrified. And she kind of laughed, and I think she thought I was joking. I was like, no, I'm actually really serious. Like, I'm really scared. And she's like, what do you mean? And I was like, I don't know. It's like, I don't know. I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. I have no idea like what to do. Like, what am I going to do when this kid cries? What are we going to do when we have no sleep? What is this going to do to my marriage? Like, what if I screw this up? Like, what if I don't change his diaper right? What if I do something wrong? Like, what if I lay him down wrong? Like, what if I'm just not the guy to lead this kid? Like, I was all in my head. I was absolutely terrified. And that terror did not go away when I brought him home. It stayed there for a very long time, because I constantly second guessed every single move that I made and everything that I was doing. And I was terrified beyond belief of making mistakes. And I think, to be honest, my first 6 years as a dad, it was really clunky. I felt really lost. I felt like I kind of wanted to escape. It wasn't that I wasn't a bad father, and it wasn't like I was abusive, but I was totally like just going through the motions. Like, I mean, you see those people, like, you probably remember going to like playing a high school sport. Maybe you were a football player or a wrestler, or a basketball player, or a baseball player. And you knew people on that. Maybe you were one of those guys that like went all out all the time, like Rudy from the movie Rudy. Like, yeah, the dude went all out every practice, no matter what. It was like the Super Bowl for him the whole time. Like, the kid was all heart, right? And maybe you were like that, where you went all out and you just like, you left nothing on the table. And then you knew, or maybe you were this person. I know I was sometimes when I wrestled in high school. I would leave a lot on the table. I'd go through the motions because I was tired. I wouldn't want to try hard, or, I'm just like, man, I just want this practice to be over. And I just sort of just go through the motions, just get through the practice and just kind of check the box. And that's how I was showing up as a dad. And I knew, but I didn't know what good looked like, but I knew that there was more on the table. I just did not know how to access more on the table. I didn't know what good looked like. And to be honest, there was even a part of me that thought that, well, if I really, really try and I go all out, is that disingenuous? Am I faking it? Like, is this weird? Like, there were so many questions. There was so much uncertainty. There was so much insecurity. And I see a lot of guys like that. And I know guys like that. And I was like that. And the fear was like, I don't have enough. I'm not equipped enough to be a dad. That's really what it boiled down to. And if I could have a conversation with myself at 30, now, you know, if I could go back in time, sit myself down, 30 years old, here I am 50. Here's what I tell myself. Dude, you're a human being. You're a man, and you're going to make mistakes. And it's not necessarily in the mistakes you make, but it's also how you recover. And here's what I would tell him too. Here's the good news, man. You think you have to grind and muster your way through this process and learning it. You think that because you're a man, because you're a husband, that automatically equips you to be a good dad. And that's not the case. The desire to be a good dad is a piece of it, but it's not all of it. A lot of men want to be a good dad. Are you willing to do the work to be a better father? Are you willing to step into being mentored and led and being taught and casting your ego aside and just say, I don't have this all figured out. I have no idea what I'm doing. Will someone please help me? Like, that's what I would have told myself early on, because it would have saved me 6 years of agony. Because it was when I started Good Dad Project, which is now the Dad Edge, that was 6 years into my being a dad. And unfortunately, I made a promise to myself as a dad that I would never hit my children out of anger. And I broke that promise when my oldest was 6 and my 4-year-old was 4. I'm sorry, my 17-year-old was 4. And so at the time, my 19-year-old was 6 and my 17-year-old was 4. And I spanked my 4-year-old. He stepped out of line. I spanked him. And right when I spanked him, it was almost like this heaviness like came over me. And the poor kid, like when I swatted him on the rear end, he lost his balance and he fell. And my son fell at my hand. And that was a very surreal moment for me, that I hurt my son by my hand. And it was me that was out of control and not him. And that's when I finally made that surrender. That it was really hard. And what I'm talking about is like, I don't know what I'm doing. I have no idea what I'm doing. This is not fine. This is not good. And this is not right. I've got to be better. I got to figure this out. And that's when I really started thinking, could fatherhood, could parenting be just like anything else we learn? Even though for some crazy reason we view it as something different, meaning like, well, you're a parent, so you must, it's nature. It's natural for you to just know what to do, to figure it out. And if you don't, you're less than. But we don't do that in any other part of our life. You know, my son, my 17-year-old son, the same one who was just spanked, came home just beaming the other day because his grandpa, my father-in-law, asked him to come over so he could teach my son how to change his oil. And my son was beaming. He was so happy. He was like, I changed my oil, learned how to do it. Papa taught me. And I thought that was so cool because, as simple as it sounds, my son did not know how to change his oil, before he got there. Now, granted, he could Google it or ChatGPT it or whatever, right? But let's reverse the tape before there was any resources out there. And let's talk about a time where you just had to figure something out. And if my son tried to change his oil without any know-how and he screwed something up, like, wouldn't we kind of expect that he wouldn't get it right? Like, we're like, hey man, you've been driving a car for a year. You know where the oil goes. You know it needs to be changed. So yeah, go to town. It's under the car. Don't worry, you'll figure it out. Best time of your whole life. I don't know where the lug nut's at. Don't worry, you'll figure it out. It's best time of your life. It's a car. People have been driving them for years. I don't know what kind of oil you use. Don't worry, you'll figure it out. Yeah, it's a car. It's a Camry, so you'll figure it out. You know what they take. We don't do that in any other area. We wouldn't expect our son to flawlessly change his oil on his own without knowing how to do it or being taught how to do it and just figuring it out. He'd probably get something wrong. And in my case, and in our case, for us, for dad's sake, is sometimes we get a lot of things wrong. But here's the good news. I would tell myself that it's okay. And when I'm telling you that it's okay. And if you don't know what to do, I've said this on many times before on many podcasts, if you don't know what to do, chances are it really isn't your fault, because this hasn't really been normalized yet, that you can go out and find the help you need, that you can actually learn these skills, that parenting is just like anything else that you learn. If you're going to be successful at it, you got to learn. No one tells you that. What they always tell you is the opposite. Like, you'll figure it out. Oh yeah, it sucks. Don't worry about it, or whatever. Right. But we can learn. So that's one thing I would say. Here's another one. You know, I'll never forget, this was a podcast guest when the Dad Edge was still the Good Dad Project. And Devin Bandison, never forget him. He still is a speaker today. And he's got this, he's a motivational speaker. He's got this awesome New York accent. And he's always like, Larry, the audio's got to match the video. I'll never forget him saying that. That was like 9 years ago, guys. I still remember that. That's one cool thing. If I could segue real quick, one cool thing about doing this podcast, 1,400 episodes, is like, I remember certain things from every single guest in some way, shape, or form, where they come up in my life and I'm like, oh my gosh, there's that lesson. There's that lesson. So if I want to raise good children, then what I need to do is another piece of advice I give myself is I need to raise my own standard of how I live. Because if you really think about it, our example, what we do, we are a walking, talking 3D motion picture of an example, and our kids are soaking it up like a sponge. So I could tell my kids all day long why they shouldn't drink at a party, but they see me have a beer in my hand when I say it. I could tell my kids not to do drugs, but they might see me smoking a vape. I don't do that, but like they might see me doing that, right? I might be telling my kids to eat healthy as I'm scarfing down Big Macs and swallowing beer at the same time. I should tell my kids that they need to go work out and be healthy, but I don't get my butt off the couch and do anything with them. I could tell my kids to be consistent and show up for practice day after day, to be better than they were before, the day before, to be 1% better every single day. But if they don't see me sharpening my own axe, my own sword, and they don't see me getting sharper and growing and being better every single day, then what I'm saying out of my mouth is meaningless to them. In fact, it actually has no credibility whatsoever. In fact, they look at us like hypocrisy. And I didn't know that back then. I always thought like, well, I'm the dad. I should have the say and I can do what I want to do. I'm the adult and they're not. So I'm going to teach lessons through my mouth, but I don't have to really do them. I don't know if I was doing that on the surface, like purposely, but that's the way I was living my life, is exactly through that. My kids saw me do horrific things wrong, right? I would tell them to do something and then I would just turn and do it. Get off your phone and pay attention to me as I'm scrolling through my phone as they're talking to me. Things like that. So the thing I would have reminded myself back then, or I would have probably really, really pounded into my head, is that if you want your kids to have a healthy body, you have to show them what a healthy body looks like. If you want them to have a growth mindset, a mindset that is always learning, right? Then you've got to show them that it's okay for you to continue to learn, right? One promise I've always made my kids, I'm not saying I'm perfect, but I've had to do this because I don't know how to do a whole lot. I'm not kidding. The reason my 17-year-old had to go learn how to change the oil from his grandpa is because I've only done that a handful of times and I don't know how to change an oil on these newer cars, and I could easily learn, but he knew the resource to go to, and it wasn't me. But I will tell you that I've always made my kids one promise. And that is, I may not be able to teach you everything, but if you ever come to me and there's something that you don't know that you want to learn, I promise I'll do it with you. I promise I'll do it with you. So like my 17-year-old wanted to go hunting. I've never hunted before. Last year, he and I got his first deer. I'd never done it. We took a class, safety class to do it, got a license, did all the things. And then he got his first deer, and it was my first time hunting too. And certain things like that. I mean, I remember taking them to Lowe's because I didn't know how to put up a backsplash. I'm like, let's go take one of those classes and we'll all learn together. Right. Just things like that we all get to learn together. I started doing jujitsu before I got hurt with my oldest son because I've never done jujitsu and neither did he. And I was like, I don't know how to do that stuff. Let's go learn together. So what's really cool about being a dad is that we don't have to have it all figured out. And this is what I would tell myself. You don't have to have it all figured out. But what's really cool is if you go on the journey of learning with them, right? Go on the journey of learning with them. So that's a piece of advice I'd give myself as well. The other thing too, I have learned, and there's so many lessons, but I'm going to wrap this up with just one more. because I think this one's really, really important. I think it's one that we really, really miss, is that without connection, I have no influence with my kids. Without connection, I have no influence. So like, for instance, if I don't take the time to connect with them, to talk with them, to be curious about their world and their life, to have conversations every single day about their life and what's going on, and not how was your day. I'm talking like questions like, tell me about the best part of your day. Tell me about who you sit at lunch with, who's your best friend and why, and tell me about that. And all these conversations that we have day after day, rep after rep, day after day, rep after rep, is that connection trumps everything. And then when I do need to have a difficult conversation around maybe behavior or wrongdoing or something like that, or I need to get a point across, I've got that connection so sealed up that when I do talk, I have credibility. I have authority. I have influence with them. I have encouragement and inspiration, and I have a voice inside their mind and their heart that when I talk and I need their attention, that they do listen. But that connection has to come first. And what I always thought is, well, I'm the disciplinarian. I'm the authoritarian. Like, they need to listen to me anyway. And here's the thing. They should. They really should, right? But the thing is we don't control how much they turn our voices off when we're actually talking to them or with them. We don't have a whole lot of control over that, but we do have influence over that. And if we have connection, we have influence. And if we have influence, then we have their attention. So I would have spent a lot more time in their early years with that connection piece. I'm glad I recovered when I did, because I really started getting my act together when my oldest son was 6. So it was kind of just in time, really. If you're listening to this podcast and you have kids that are older, it's not too late for you. It's not. You can still have connection. I mean, you're listening to a guy right now who's 50 years old, who for the past 20 years has had a connection and a relationship with his dad that he never had growing up, and he met when he was 30. So it's never too late. My dad and I have a great relationship now, and 30 years of my life went by and he wasn't a part of it. So it's never too late. It's never too late to have that connection. So whether you have a teenager, whether you have a little kid, doesn't matter. Connection will always trump everything else. So if you want their ear, you want their attention, you want that credibility, you want that authority in their life, the deeper that connection is with your kid, the better off you're going to be. So that is my podcast for you guys today. As it relates to this, I have something in here for you guys. It's totally free. And it's something that I created actually a while ago, and it's called full presence training. One of the things that we battle with as men and dads is our attention to them. I mean, we live in a world of absolute distraction. I don't have to tell you guys all the distractions out there. All you got to do is go to your kid's little league game and just look around the bleachers, and you'll see what I'm talking about. And just by me saying that, you know what I'm talking about. And I'm right there with you. I'm there too. I have that problem here and there too. But I created this full presence training course. It's, like I said, it's totally free. There's a video course in it, but basically what it does is it helps you get really grounded in the presence with your kids. And when you find your mind drifting and you find your thoughts drifting and your attention drifting with your kids, you can use some of these skills I talk about in this training to really, really, really dig in and be there 100% present with your kids. It's been a game changer. I developed that about 4 years ago, and it's something that we're bringing back. And it's something that I think it's going to be really, really useful for you guys, as far as like, if your connection is waning, and you don't know exactly what to do, or you don't know exactly how to improve it, I'm going to have that training in the show notes for you guys. So for this training, you want to go to thedadedge.com/Friday216 for this show. Again, thedadedge.com/Friday216 for this show. In there, you can subscribe to that free training. You can watch a video. I also have a PDF in there for you. But it's a great way, a very simple way to do this. Also, if you are sick and tired of just doing life alone, you just want to be around common men learning uncommon skills and doing uncommon things, then you can join our Elite Brotherhood if you're a career guy over at the Alliance. So that's our brotherhood. That's our Elite Brotherhood we've had for 9 years. Over at the Alliance, we've helped over 4,000 men in that program. I'll tell you, it's a game changer. I like all the things we talk about on this podcast, all the skills around parenting and marriage and health and wealth and mental health and all of the things that are so important to us as men. That's what we do there in the Alliance. And for all my biz dads out there, all my entrepreneurs, my business owners out there, we got the boardroom for you. We've been doing that for 7 years. That's for our elite. That's our elite brotherhood for our business owners. We help you continue to grow and scale your business while also creating the marriage of your dreams and the connection with your kids that you've always wanted. Entrepreneurs, we're highly driven people, and the high drive and the success that comes with building a business sometimes comes at the sacrifice of the attention that we give at home. And in the boardroom, we teach you how to do all three, so you not leave one behind. So I'm going to have all those links in the show notes for you guys, for the free training, for the presence training, for the alliance, for the boardroom. And if there's ever anything I can do for you, I'm not hard to find. You can shoot me a DM on Instagram. I answer all my own Instagram messages, my own Facebook messages, the whole 9 yards. So head on over to thedadedge.com/Friday 216 for the show. Again, thedadedge.com/Friday 216. Go out, live legendary, gentlemen.